Hey everyone, this is Nika and welcome back to the vlog. Today's video is super exciting because I finally just finished my last midterm exam, and so tomorrow morning my friend and I are going on a little cross-Europe trip. We have a week off from school, and in that time we'll be seeing Belgium, Germany, Switzerland, and Luxembourg. So it's going to be a little bit crazy, but I'm sure I'll have a lot of cool stuff to show you. So if that sounds interesting to you, this is definitely the video for you. But before I get into the travel content, I did just want to shout out a project that I had the privilege of being part of. Earlier this year, I was in Texas actually, filming an indie horror film. It's called The SAWYER Massacre, and as the name suggests, it is a prequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So if you think that that might interest you, or if you just want to take a quick look, I'll be linking it in the description box down below. It's on YouTube, it's free to watch, so yeah, if you want to check it out, I would really appreciate that. But that's everything from me for now. And yeah, I guess I'll see you tomorrow when the adventure begins. So day one, we started in Antwerp, Belgium. This was the train station we arrived at, which is pretty amazing. As you can see, I guess that was the first stop of our tour. And then we continued walking through the city and came across this building, which I believe is just like an event center now because there wasn't really anything going on. And then we made our way to the Grote Markt Square, which is honestly probably one of the most amazing squares I've ever seen. Beautiful and really unique architectural style, which we saw a lot of around Belgium. And then we actually stumbled across a Ferris wheel and decided to go up because it was only €5 per person. Cool view, but by this time the clouds had started to roll in again. But nonetheless, you can see the castle there in the corner, and you can see some cool churches from up top. And then we went through this passageway between the buildings, which had a restaurant like in the basement, which was really strange. And they also had another one actually in the passage itself, you can see here. This was really cool, very picturesque. And then we did decide to check out the castle, even though it's pretty small. There were only a few like free rooms, but it was cool nonetheless. Day two, we also started in Antwerp. And we decided to go to the mall first thing, not to do any shopping, but just to see it because it's super cool. And then we went to the Fine Arts Museum, which was actually amazing. They had a lot of old masters. I don't actually know whose work this was, but I thought it was really cool with all the like strange looking animals. And what we did next might actually be my favorite moment of the whole trip. This is the St. Pauluskerk, and we walked in on a concert rehearsal. Aside from the music being amazing, the church itself was just stunning as well. I've never seen a church interior that looks like this, with like the black and the white detailing. Also, most of the paintings were Rubens, which you can usually only see in galleries, so that was really cool. So day three of the trip did not actually end up happening, at least not the way that it was supposed to, because after like being in Belgium for 2 days, we were taking a bus and we were supposed to go to Germany. There was a layover in Utrecht, in the Netherlands. I got there fine, I got into Belgium and the Netherlands fine. But then when I tried to get on the bus to Germany, they asked for my passport, and I realized I did not have it. And this isn't supposed to be a problem when you're traveling within the Schengen area. There's not supposed to be, any sort of border checks. So, I was kind of shocked, but basically they didn't let me get on the bus, and we were stranded in a city that we didn't intend to go to, in a country that we didn't intend to go to. Basically, luckily we were right by a hotel, so we got a hotel for the night. The next day, we went to a nearby city to go to the Canadian embassy and try to see if I could get some sort of temporary documentation. But basically, if I wanted to do that, I would have to completely replace my current passport, which would be like $450. And I was pretty sure, and I found it now, it's here, it's in my apartment. So I was like, okay, I can't do that. So basically, we missed a day of our trip, running around The Hague in the Netherlands, trying to get some sort of passport documentation. And we couldn't. So basically, we went to the train station, and the lady there at the info center actually said, like, okay, we will never ask you for your passport on a train going within the Schengen area, unless there's some sort of border check, but it won't happen because it's the Schengen area. With the exception of, I think, Slovenia. That's like, I think it was Slovenia. There's one country where they ask more often, but basically she said, like, if I were you, I would just get on a train and do that instead of the buses. So that's what we did. And yeah, we made it to Germany. Unfortunately, we did miss Heidelberg, which is where we were going to go for day 3. But I guess one day I'll go back. At least we did end up being able to continue with our trip. So yeah, next day is first day in Germany. Anyway, back on track for day 4. We had a very long journey, I think about 8 trains and like 13 hours or something. But finally, we were on our way to Füssen, some beautiful views along the way, and our first stop was Neuschwanstein. This is the castle that I believe inspired Disney for Cinderella's castle. So, of course, super cool to see up in the mountains. And the funny thing is that it's only about 150 years old, but you can clearly see the Gothic architectural influence. And then across the valley, you can probably see another castle. This one's a bit older. I believe this is where the king that built Neuschwanstein lived as a child. We didn't end up going there. We just looked across. And we went inside Neuschwanstein, but we weren't allowed to take videos, which is sad because it was really, really cool. But for now, just enjoy this view from the bridge, which was across the valley. And then we went back to Füssen and checked out the basilica and the castle. Most of it wasn't open, unfortunately, but we were able to go in the chapel of the basilica, which was super cool. I wasn't expecting like the amazing frescoes and things. And yeah, after this, we kind of just walked around the village of Füssen. You'll see in a moment here. This is what it looks like. Simple, but very picturesque, and a very nice end to the evening. Unfortunately, because of the passport thing, that was our only day in Germany, but the next day we were off to Switzerland. We started in the capital city of Bern, and yeah, we got to see some of the sights, but unfortunately it was another cloudy day, so the views weren't quite as spectacular as I guess they should have been. Nonetheless, very cool. They have a beautiful, beautiful river, which is like a very bright turquoise color, but it doesn't translate too well on camera. And once the sun went down, there was actually a light show at the Bundeshaus, so we checked that out, and it was really cool. I've included some clips here, just a great way to end the night. The next morning, we woke up in Bern again and finally had some blue skies, so I could get some better views of the city. Also, I do feel the need to quickly address that Bundeshaus show. I don't know why they chose a nautical theme. Bern is not even remotely near the ocean. I mean, Switzerland is landlocked, but it was really cool. It was just kind of random. Yeah, and then we went up Gurten, which is this nearby hill, and got some really cool views. And then we arrived later that afternoon in Lucerne, which is a very famous city because you're supposed to be able to see the Alps, but once again, clouds, so not too many Alp views. But it was really cool. They have this amazing medieval bridge. I've never seen anything like this before. They actually have 2 of them. And yeah, just a very picturesque for sure, but I actually think I liked Bern better. Also, by this point in the year, all the medieval towers were closed to visitors, so that was kind of sad, but at least we got to go into this really cool church. It was very pink, and I kind of love it, actually, which usually I hate pink marble, but I like it there. And then when the sun started to go down, I mean, we couldn't see the sun anyway, but I guess when it got darker out, the view was even better with like the lights reflecting off the water. And for our final morning of the trip, we did the short day trip from Lucerne up to Mount Pilatus. Once again, the clouds have kind of ruined our view, but it was still really cool. You can see how like it's very green down in the valley, and then all of a sudden, it's like we're leaving fall and going to winter. I basically just feel like I've gone back to Canada, to be honest. you can't really see, but I mean, I can't really see either. It's just like snow everywhere, and fog, which is kind of disappointing because I really wanted to see the views, but it's also kind of cool because it looks like you're looking out and there's just nothing. So the mountain goes down, I know that, but I don't know what is there. It's just nothingness. Yeah, literally just nothing. You can see the outline of the building. Other than that, you can't see anything. Yeah, honestly, I would recommend just Googling pictures of views from Mount Pilatus, because we could not see anything. But I will say, the snow made the cog rail, whatever they call this, the train ride down, really cool. I think it added to the vibe. And we did have some cool views, nonetheless, even with all the snow clouds. And that's it for the trip, unfortunately. I'm back in Reims at my apartment. I'm going to be heading to school in like 5 minutes, so things are back to normal. But I do want to clarify that obviously social media is not reality. I know the trip looked amazing, and it was amazing. I saw so many great things. We had a great time, but obviously with things like the passport issue, it did not always go smoothly. That was really stressful because I felt like not only was I ruining my trip, I was also ruining my friends. And luckily we were able to continue mostly as planned, but you know, at a point that felt very uncertain. And there's a lot of just like negative things that I don't show. I actually had a whole video of like basically just misfortune, but I decided not to post it because I figured like no one would want to watch that. But yeah, I've definitely only been sharing the highlights, and the truth is a lot of the time, especially recently, I've kind of just wanted to go home. Like obviously it's hard living in a foreign country so far away from your family and everything that kind of builds your identity. And sometimes I feel like I only have like one friend here. Yeah, so it's tough. I mean, and I just feel like I've had horrible luck. I failed my math exam, my midterm, which I knew was going to happen because I was put in the wrong group and I didn't realize until it was too late. And basically, it's just like not possible for me to keep up, which is hard because I've always been the top of the class and now I'm literally failing, you know? Luckily, it's just the one course and I can still pass the year without that course, but yeah, no, it's tough. And then also, a couple of weeks ago, I got locked out of my apartment because I only have one key and the door locks on its own if you leave. So basically, if you leave the key inside, if you forget to bring the key, then you're locked out and there's no way to get back in. So I had to call a locksmith, and that was like 190 euros or something. So yeah, basically like, I mean, on top of that, just like feeling lonely, feeling like lost. Yeah, I mean, it's like the kind of things that I don't want to put in my vlog, you know, because I want to be honest, but I also want to show the good things because there are so many good things. But sometimes I just don't know if it's actually worth it, you know. Sometimes I'm like, okay, you know what? I've had my experience living in France. I'm ready to go back now, but obviously I can't do that yet. I have to wait a little bit longer. So yeah, I just wanted to have that little bit of honesty. If you're jealous of me living in France, I totally understand that. And I'm glad that I'm able to be here. And I mean, fortunate for sure to get into the school, but sometimes being home is actually the best thing. So anyway, I'm going home for Christmas. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm still glad that I'm able to be surrounded by so many new experiences in this country and in Europe. And I'll try to continue traveling to kind of, you know, remind myself why I'm here. But yeah, it's not always perfect, and I've just blabbed on for 3.5 minutes, so I'm gonna say goodbye now. I hope you enjoyed the vlog. The countries were amazing. I'm very glad that I got to see the things I did. But I guess I just realized, like, you can't run away from your problems by moving to a different continent. They will follow you, and there will be new problems waiting for you as well. So there's my little insight for the day.